Hello, welcome to Business Incorporated live on Channels Television. Coming up today, IATF enters day 4 as Nigeria holds Country Day. South Africa's inflation steadies in October at 5%. Kenya to pay a lion's share of EAC budget to new monetary system. First off, let's have the markets now. Bearish sentiment permeated major markets in Africa at intraday. There was marginal loss in Nigeria as the all-share index slipped 0.02%. South Africa's GSE was down by 0.35%, while Egypt, the market's benchmark indicator, the EGX30, dipped by more than 1%. In Kenya, the market closed, ended the trading week yesterday positive, up by 0.49%. And it was also negative sentiment at intraday across board for the markets we track in the Middle East. Abu Dhabi's index slipped 0.03%. Dubai index was lower by 0.02%. In another region, Saudi Arabia's Tadawul and the Qatari index lost 0.69% and 0.08% respectively. Now to Europe. It's all about rising inflation right now, and the word transitory just keeps being thrown around. Let's talk to Christy Platson right there in Frankfurt. Great to have you, Christy. Well, European inflation data was out yesterday showing the Eurozone consumer price were up 4.1% year-on-year in October. That's more than the European Central Bank's target. How are the markets reacting?
Right. Well, in terms of that inflation data, which did come out last night, what we saw on the open today was European stocks relatively flat, specifically in the open, as you can see behind me. So they did not fall as much as some indexes did in other areas, but they also weren't overly optimistic either. Traders, of course, have their eyes on developments around inflation. There are fears that if consumer prices rise too high, this could start weighing on demand. This is also a major concern for corporations, of course, as well. They're also dealing with continued supply chain issues. Those were caused, of course, as we know, by the pent-up demand we saw that came out of the coronavirus lockdown. So this has put a lot of pressure on the prices of raw materials, which has been an issue for corporations. Though I want to say at the same time, we've seen a very strong performance this earnings season. Many companies are reporting higher profits this year than they actually saw in 2019, so higher than pre-pandemic levels in some cases. And one of the reasons for this is actually due to inflation. This has given companies an excuse to raise their prices for consumers. And this has allowed them to pass on some of the higher cost of raw materials to customers and ultimately protect their bottom line in that way.
Well, that's the global issue right now. I see share prices for German solar car company Sono Motors soared yesterday in its stock market debut on New York's NASDAQ exchange. When can we expect to see solar-powered cars on the road?
Yeah, right, good question. Well, Sono says that we'll be seeing their model on the road by around 2023, and this is really such a great moment for this company to go public. We just saw world leaders walking away from the climate conferences in Glasgow these last 2 weeks, agreeing that all new passenger cars and vans need to be 100% zero emissions by 2035 for leading markets and by 2040 for the globe in general. So this gave a huge push already to electric car maker Rivian, who went public last week with one of the strongest IPOs we saw of the year, and Sono is obviously riding this same wave as well. So, and we should also point out that not only are they building their own car, they also plan to license and sell their solar panel technology to other companies. So then other companies can put solar panels on cars, on buses, on boats even, or trains as well. So huge growth potential in that market. Obviously, they won't be the only player getting involved there, but they're certainly a front runner for now.
Even though it was an impressive debut, Soto will have some industry hurdles to overcome. First, new car registrations in Europe fell by a sharp 30% in October, amid the semiconductor supply crisis. What effect has this had on car makers?
Right, so as we know, new car registrations also tend to reflect new car sales, and so this is not a good reflection. And in fact, the numbers for October were the lowest for that month since the started reporting on this, according to the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, who brought out this report. Now, they also said that due to strong performance in the first half of the year, the industry is going to close out 2021 in the green, but that doesn't mean that car makers aren't really feeling the pain right now. So how this is affecting them, we know Volkswagen said yesterday that they'll be shutting down production of their electric car line for a week right now due to the semiconductor shortage. And electric vehicles, they need many times the number of microchips compared to a standard diesel engine car. So this is a setback not only for the car makers themselves, but also for efforts to protect the climate as well. And they're not the only car maker. We also heard from American car maker Ford that 3 out of every 4 of their production facilities here in Europe are currently halting production or slowing production for the same reason. So still an ongoing major headache for this industry, and one that I'm sure they're hoping will be over soon.
All right, Chrissy Platzer, right there in Frankfurt. Thank you so much for the update. And Asia-Pacific markets traded mixed following overnight losses on Wall Street as shares in Japan, Hong Kong, and Chinese mainland struggled for the gains. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 1.29% to 25,319 points, while Nasdaq technology board Hang Tech's index sold off nearly 3%. Chinese mainland shares also traded lower. The Shanghai Composite declined 0.47% to 3,520 points, while the Shenzhen component fell 0.9% to 14,579 points. In South Korea, the Kospi fell 0.51% to 2,947 points. After wavering gains and losses earlier in the session, the Kosdaq rose 0.15% to 1,032 points. Japanese shares extended losses from the previous session. The benchmark Nikkei 225 index declining 0.3% to 29,598 points, while the Topix fell 0.14% to 2,035. All right, over to the UK now. Let's bring in Juliana right there in the UK. Great to have you, Juliana. Well, Royal Mail is set to deliver £400 million to shareholders, but analysts are concerned about inflationary pressures. What's the plan here?
Well, the plan is shareholders get a payout when a company does well. That's what's happened with this £400 million reward scheme. I think Royal Mail certainly surprised investors with their half-year turnaround. They have revealed that they've got profits that have surged 7% to £6 billion. And this goes back a long time. Royal Mail really tried to restructure. Of course, their business has really been about delivering letters, and people barely send text these days, let alone letters, laddie, which is why they decided to transition to a more parcel-focused business. Of course, during the pandemic, this has been extremely profitable for them because lots of people, of course, have been shopping online, so their parcel business has been doing very, very well. They also decided to cut out lots of their middle management, so even in just management restructuring alone, they've managed to save £56 million. So yes, the £400 million dividend payout is great for investors, which is why they were one of the top risers on the FTSE All-Share today. Their shares were up 6.6%.
Well, but how are the markets reacting to this and investors generally?
Yeah, well, the FTSE is in the red, and it's been in the red all day, very much in the red at intraday. Lots of focus on the price of Brent crude. It's dipped slightly, but it's been rising steadily over the past couple of days. Lots of reports that the US and China may, in fact, release some of their reserves to try and put down the prices. This has really knocked off the top titans. Royal Dutch Shell, they've been trading down. BP have also been trading down. That's kind of led the way of the UK blue chip index. The all-share at intraday is down 0.07%. The FTSE 100, that's down 2 at 0.18%. The domestic market, that's up slightly by 0.45%. In the currencies market, the British pound, that's up against the US dollar by 0.06%, down against the euro by 0.16%, and up against the Japanese yen by 0.03%.
Yeah, I see the oil majors getting a big hit today. Well, let's look at some labor matters now. A campaign group is urging UK employers to stop asking job seekers about their previous salaries. What's the concern?
Well, I think the concern from the Foresight Society that released this report to mark Equal Pay Day, which is today, is to say that it's pointless. It doesn't work because most people lie about what they previously earned so they can earn a higher wage. But I think, you know, the more important, significant part of this report is that if you are telling the truth and you say what you earned in a previous position, if you happen to be black, Asian, or any other minority living in Britain, or a woman, and then you face being in this perpetual cycle of being paid very, very low, because they are typically paid much lower than white males. I said today is Equal Pay Day in the UK, and it is a significant day because the society, the Foresight Society, believe that from today until the rest of the year, women should basically be working for free, because this is just how much of a pay gap difference there is. There have been lots of discussions within the House of Commons about how they can start decreasing the gender pay gap, but it's still a major problem, and it's not expected to be fixed until 2056. So, you know, if you're 18 today and you join the labour market, you would be at least, 40 or 50 years old before you would see, a pay wage that is the equivalent to your male counterpart. I don't know if that's the same in Nigeria, of course, Larry, but it's certainly a massive issue here.
Well, I know you and I will not lie about our salary history. All right, Juliana, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, now, moving on to the oil market. We see U.S. oil was under pressure today, adding to an overnight plunge. Reports showed that the United States was asking major oil consumers like China and Japan to consider a coordinated release of oil reserves to lower prices. U.S. crude was down 62 cents at $77.74 a barrel, falling 3% overnight. Brent crude fell 39 cents to $79.89 a barrel, falling 2.6% to the lowest close since early October. The International Energy Agency and OPEC have said in recent weeks that more supply will be available in the next several months. OPEC Plus is maintaining an agreement to boost output by 400,000 barrels per day every month so as not to flood the market with supply. Well, today on Commodities Market Update, the focus is rice. According to a report from the Economist Intelligence Unit, global rice production is expected to be 509 million tons, which is a 1% increase from last year at 504 million tons. Nigeria, being a major consumer, imports 2.0 million tons, which is about 11% of African imports. Recently, interventions by the CBN through the Anchor Borrowers Program have disbursed about 615.4 billion naira towards the goal of self-sufficiency in rice production. How have these interventions fared? Let's talk to Abimbola Adiguna, research analyst at Financial Derivatives Company. Great to have you. Well, despite the interventions like the Anchor Borrowers Program, the price of rice is still at 30,000 naira per 50 kilogram bag. Does this mean that the program is not effective?
Thank you for having me. Well, the AB program is actually effective because so far there has been an increase in the production of local rice. So the increase in price of rice actually started from when there was a ban on importation of rice, and this shifted the consumers, and this shifted the demand for rice, local rice, and the demand for rice is actually more than how much they're producing in the country. So the fact that there was scarcity in the production of rice, the price of rice increased. While and since then, since the hike of the price of rice and local rice, there has been it hasn't dropped since then, and this is due to the activities that are actually going on now, like the herdsmen in the northern part of Nigeria, that's affecting the farmers' productivity.
All right, I guess it's still the insecurity issue affecting, but Christmas is fast approaching, and the price of rice is expected to, spike during the period due to high demand. The price of a 50 kg bag presently at 30,000, which is a 3% increase compared to last Christmas. That was about 29,000. It's not really a significant price hike, when compared to other food items in the inflation basket. Does that imply a production increase or, substitution due to low consumer income?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, due to the ABA program, local production of rice has increased, but then because of the inflation that's going on now, it has affected the consumers' income, so their purchasing power has reduced. They won't, unlike last year, they won't want to buy as much, or they won't buy as much quantity of rice as they used to. So due to this, they have shifted their demand to other products in the inflation basket, other items in the inflation basket, and this has, because of the increase in demand of those items, there has been an increase in price. So. Yeah.
All right. So locally produced rice like Ofada is believed to have, more nutritional benefits than polished white rice. So, considering the increasing global affinity towards healthier alternatives, could this be why Ofada is more expensive than regular white rice?
So the awareness of the health benefits or the nutritional benefits of Ofada has made the demand of Ofada to increase, and because of that, the price actually increased. But then Ofada is not, compared to white rice, which is grown in almost all the states in Nigeria. Ofada rice is only grown in the south, is majorly grown in the southwest of Nigeria. So the supply of Ofada rice compared to the demand is low. So that has increased the price of Ofada rice compared to white rice.
All right, Bimbo, I guess maybe I'm going to get Ofada sauce today to, you're making me hungry for rice. All right, Bimbo, thank you so much. Analyst at Financial Derivatives Company, thank you for coming on the program. All right, moving on now. Nigeria will today host its Country Day at the second edition of the Inter-Africa Trade Fair taking place in Durban, South Africa. Country Day is an opportunity at the IATF 2021. It provides select countries a platform to promote business sectors, trade credentials, export market products and services, and capital market opportunities. The event will have business leaders, governors, musicians such as the Banj and Niniola in attendance. Do take a listen.
Nigeria is set to hold its Country Day at the Intra-African Trade Fair, holding in Durban, South Africa. Following the theme of building bridges for a successful AfTA, the Country Day feature allows selected African countries to showcase and promote their trade and investment opportunities for one day. Visiting Nigeria's pavilion, the Niger State Governor says he's impressed with the variety of made in Nigeria products present at the fair.
I took time to go around and I saw a lot of made in Nigeria products. I'm highly impressed. To be honest, some of what I saw I never knew we could produce or manufacture in Nigeria. It means we're in the right direction. And if we continue at this trend, I believe very soon Nigeria will move from a major importer to a major exporter.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council is spearheading Nigeria's participation at the IATF and believes the fair will provide an opportunity for the promotion of trade between Nigeria and the rest of the African continent. Over the past 3 days, IATF has featured debates and discussions to help overcome the obstacles holding back trade on the continent.
Not until when we face some critical areas and resolve them, we will not move forward. One, even if you produce the goods, how do you move them when half the continent is in crisis?
We can't be accredited. When are we going to create an African standard? We are not reinventing the wheel. We create an African standard so that we trade with each other, and whoever comes on the continent to do business, they align with our standards.
There's still a huge problem in terms of businesses knowing what is available in what country. So you still find situations where African businesses are importing things from outside the continent that they can actually procure more, less expensively and more locally from another country on the continent.
Meanwhile, on the sidelines of Day 3, Côte d'Ivoire has been announced as a host country for the third edition of the fair in 2023. Tenyola Shobowale, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, South Africa consumer price inflation steadied at 5% in October, the same as the month before, marking the sixth consecutive month the economy is higher than the midpoint of the central bank's target range of between 3 to 6%. A report from Statistics South Africa shows the cost of transport and food and non-alcoholic beverages rose by 10.9% and 6.1% respectively in October, with fuel prices up 23.1% from a year earlier. The data comes ahead of a highly anticipated announcement by the South African Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee on Thursday, that's today, setting the stage for a potential interest rate increase in the coming months. And that's it on Business Incorporated. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. Bye for now.